Hello there. My name is Jared, and this is an episode of Everything Eccentric with my guest, Anthony Baccari. Before I get into that, though, if you're from Anthony's audience, please do subscribe if you like videos about mental health, psychology, dating, relationships. That's usually what I talk about on here. And I also go into a lot of videos that kind of talk about supplements. And I also have my book, Radical Self-Respect. Avoid falling for the same BS, coming out very soon, probably within the month or so. But with that, very short intro today, and I introduce my guest, who I guess we'll call what? We're going to call you a real estate investor?
I guess you could go with I like entrepreneur, but that word's used too much. So I like a hustler, hard worker.
A hustler.
That I'll take.
As long as you don't say an influencer, that's one of those words that goes up my craw nowadays.
I actually like it if it's a good influencer. If it's somebody that's actually trying to help people, that's actually pointing somebody in the right direction, then I'm okay with that word. But if you're just an influencer, just because you're speaking and sending somebody in one direction, then absolutely not.
You know what's been bothering me about that term, actually? I see all these coaches out there. It's like they're trying too hard to get their audience. They're trying too hard to build some sort of following. And I feel like it's just got to be more natural. It's like if you have something that's valuable that people are going to want and information that people are going to want to learn from you, it's like they're going to come to you.
Well, I think people read that naturally. I mean, you could see who's coming off fake or looking for advice or looking for money and just trying to get their name out there. Or somebody just comes off naturally, it's actually trying to help you and coach you.
Oh, exactly. So people I'm trying to think of a good example of what I'm talking about right now, but say there's someone who has a skill. They're really good at it. So maybe they're really good at sales. Or maybe they're really good at sports training. And so say maybe Conor McGregor will go to say, hey, we'll go to this jiu-jitsu coach because he's the best.
All right.
Or he'll go to this striking coach because he's the best. And it's like, hey, he has valuable knowledge and information that people are going to want and really want to pay for. But I see a lot of these quote-unquote influencers and coaches, what they're doing is they don't have anything. They have nothing. And they're trying to build something from nothing.
I would say it's like your typical car salesman. You feel like you're getting hustled and pushed, and then you get the one guy that's just laid back telling you exactly what's going on.
That's the guy authentic.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's the guy you want to buy a car from. That's the guy you want to get advice from, whether it's gym advice or influence about business, things like that. I think that's the person you want to go for, man or female.
I can understand that. So right now, you do real estate investing is what you do?
Yeah. So I actually just left my property. It's a 5-unit building. Rental property, and I was doing concrete work and stuff like that, so I'm all sliced up and cut out. But I got into wholesaling right now, so I'm looking at properties sometimes for fix and flips or just quick flips, and then I'm also getting my real estate license so I get a little bit more in depth, which that's why I told you I've been going to school Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays.
I actually do remember you telling me that.
Yeah, no, I
did not know that.
Yeah, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and some Saturdays, so it's my schedule's nuts right now.
Cool. So how did all this begin? Because I feel I'm always curious in understanding how people got to where they are now from where they were. Because that's the beginning steps and learning where to go. To me, that's always the hardest part. And people are so it's hard for them.
Well, I think in high school you have no idea. I think that's the most pressure. At least it was on me. High school was the worst thing in the world. You got to go to college. You have to do this. And you get peer pressured into all these different routes and you have no idea what's going on in life. So you try to talk to your family, you try to talk to friends, and it's just tough. So I just knew at 16 I had to get a job that wasn't under the table. I started working at Target, and I was there for about a year. As soon as after a year, I was like, I want department manager. They said, you're 17, you can't do that. So I said, as soon as I turned 18, I want it. They didn't give it to me, so they gave me a receiver position. So I'll make a $13.50 an hour, 18. I remember my father's like, all right, you have to now start kicking in $150 a week. And as soon as I turned 18, that's what he said. But it was in a good way. He cooked for me, and I think, I'm not even gonna lie, my mother did my clothes till I was 18, so I moved out at 19. But then I'm working there in the back. Now I'm learning everything that everybody does, Coca-Cola, Stroman, all the route guys, the vending routes. Remember, again, I was talking about, vending routes, how much they cost. And I come across Coca-Cola, and they said, we don't have to pay for our routes. We just make commission. So I talked to the head person in that district, and they said they have one route available, but you need to have a year experience. I said, what did that route make? He said it made $36,000 last year. I said, I'll up your route by $5,000 if you give me the position. He's like, that's not how it works. I talked him into it. I got a sales rep position.
What, you give him an offer, couldn't refuse?
No, I just said, I promise you, I'll make $5,000 increase on that route, and I got the job. So now I'm 19. I'm making $41,000 a year. And I put half away because I'm living with my parents, and then I went into business with my grandmother at the deli. That's how it started. Then I bought my grandmother out, and things took off from there.
So the Coca-Cola route, what you're doing is what, basically delivering soda to like stores like Wawa, or is it more servicing like the vending machines, or how does it work?
So it's a bulk route. You got 4 stores, and these were kind of in areas, it was a Gennardi's that closed down, it was a Target, and 2 ShopRites. So you make commission off that. You make $2.50 an hour. You work about 70 hours a week, 7 days a week, and you pretty much pack out from all the trucks. So you get commission on bottles, 10 cents, quarter, things like that.
And what gave you the idea to even begin that? Just from you seeing it around you, you said, you know what, that's something I want to be a part of?
Yeah, well, I figured I'm making $13.50 an hour. I'm meeting all these people that kind of have their own business. Even though you have a boss, you work your own route. You don't work for anybody. And I always wanted to work for myself. This way I can make my own mistakes.
No, I agree with that absolutely. And did it cost like some sort of down payment, or did you get a loan to get it started, and how did that part work?
No. Coca-Cola was the only route that you didn't have to buy. Like Tasty Cake, some routes are like $150,000. Stroman's like $300,000. And Tasty, I know, it's nuts. And Coca-Cola was the only one that was just a commission route, and it was open. So I was like, I just jumped right on.
But some of this stuff is like, you can't teach some of this. You can't teach ambition to people. It's like either people have it and they're hungry to succeed, or it's like they're just in the mindset where they want to work for someone else. They want to not do like the bare minimum and just not do much. They want to do the bare minimum and not really push themselves. But that's not you, though. You're the person that wants to go above and beyond.
Me and you grew up around a lot of the same people when I came to Jersey, and we know a lot of the people that had zero ambition, and you can't do anything with them. Like I'd stay in touch with them. I want to stay in touch with their kids, and because I love that. But I tried to stray myself away from people like that, because if you're content with life and and it's not even financially, if you're just content with scraping by, then I have no place in my life yet. That's how I look at it. I know it sounds a little greedy. I know it sounds a little nasty, but it's just. I have no problem being, social and going out here and there, but I just don't. I want to put positive people around in my life that have drive.
It's important, like they always say, to make the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and people's habits and their work ethics, they're going to be contagious. You just can't help but they become like the people you spend time with. So you're right. It is important to be around people that you admire. And I always remember that Nipsey Hussle line where it said, if you look around you to the people in your circle and you're not inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage kind of thing. It's true. It's what it is.
That's a great line too, and it absolutely is true. Yeah, and just from that, it also starts to, if you have a good family. So I don't know your situation, but I had a good family. Like my parents been together over 40-something years, the hardworking people. So that instills a little bit of that in you, because some people don't have that, and it's tough to just like all of a sudden say, I'm going to start doing stuff. It's not easy. So I can't imagine what it's like that.
It puts people behind to not have a good family unit. And there's so many families now where it's just like one parent's missing, or like a single mother has to work like 3 jobs to get by. It absolutely does make it more difficult. And there is I was lucky to have 2 parents there. They weren't like complete assholes, right?
Yeah.
They were there. Everyone had their faults, of course, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. And so I do think there are people who it is tough for them because they have so much going against them from the get.
Yeah. That's the situation where I think it's tough, and you just look at their situation. You say, okay, that's why they ended up where they are. So it's tough. It's tough to look at every situation the same. You just can't do it.
I agree with that. I think some people do make that mistake, though. They say, look, I did this, and so why shouldn't everyone else be able to do this?
Yeah.
But what they don't take into account is all the bullshit that other family had to deal with. Like maybe that guy had to do something different, or maybe his parents were both using drugs and beating them or abusing them in some way, and who knows, man? It's rough. But you were talking about the high school thing, and I think this is a big topic right now, too, because a lot of these colleges right now, they're really taking advantage of the kids.
They're out for blood.
Well, I think it's predatory lending because it's like the government, student loan companies, and the universities. They all went into a bar and they said, how the fuck can we get the most money from all these bastards? And so the government's like, well, we can guarantee all the loans. And the student loan company's like, yeah, that's a good one. And the university's like, yeah, that's a great. And the universities jack up the prices. And then the student loan companies, I don't know how the hell away these bastards get away with what they get away with, but they're like, oh yeah, you're going to pay interest while you're in school, like 4 to 6% if you're in a private loan.
Yeah, then they increase it as the years go on.
And then you go by, you'll pay say you get $40,000 in student loan debt, and then all of a sudden you paid like 20 grand, and your balance is like 37,000.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's worse than a mortgage.
No, it's way worse.
It's actually like handing a child a mortgage. And
yes.
you have to pay this off, and that's it. And that's the way it is. And it's, how many people do we know our age, in their 30s, early 30s, that are still paying off their
You're looking at them.
and you're not doing what you went to college for.
No, not at all.
Exactly. Thank God I took classes for business administration and like learned maybe some of it helped and learned what I needed to and then got out. But college is great for people.
I'm all for learning.
Yeah.
I'm all for learning, but what I always tell people now is you should really have like a clear path to income if you're going to go to school, because there's a lot of degrees just lead to nowhere.
But how do you do that at 16?
Well, that's the part of it where like your frontal lobe in your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25. So these guys are preying on people that don't know shit, because when you're 16, 17, you don't know shit. And so unless your parents are there really guiding you and like they're fiscally responsible and fiscally intelligent,
Yeah.
you're just going to go up the creek, because for a while what happened was that was how you made it. You get a college degree, you get a bachelor's degree, and you're good. You're good. You go straight to $100,000 and you're good.
Yeah,
but that's not how it is anymore.
No, yeah, it's changed.
But everything changes.
You said 25 because I'm 33 and I still haven't developed. I'm still waiting for that to kick in.
I think there's some delayed responses, especially in us dudes.
Oh, man, please, we're the worst. Girls talk about it all the time. That what's it take a man to fully mature, 42 years old?
Something. Who
like
knows
that sounds about right. That sounds actually about right.
But I don't know. What do you think a solution would be to all this school stuff? I know Mr. Bernard was saying he was going to try to eliminate all student loan debt. I don't know how the hell he would ever do that, though.
I don't know how that works. I mean, that's above my pay grade to look at it. But I do think they need to start teaching more financial responsibilities in high school. I think more what that does, credit card. I think there's a lot more they could teach in high school than they didn't do. And I think that would come... That would come really in handy, and I think a lot of kids need to start looking at trade schools more.
Amen to that.
It's huge. Yeah, trade schools are really big.
Because useful. So
Yeah.
you can become something like a plumber,
Yeah.
a contractor,
It's right in my head.
an electrician. Boom.
Even
And you're
nursing.
nursing is like a trade to me. It's like you go to school to get your RN or BSN,
Yeah.
and you learn the trade of nursing. Or like you go to school to be an accountant, and you learn the trade of accounting, and you go straight to that income. But these blue-collar skills right now, that's what's needed. And there's like 6 million unfilled jobs in America right now.
I know.
Because everyone still just thinks, just go to college. It's the right way to go.
Yeah, and then you take a lot of classes, and then you're trying to find out which route you want to go. I actually was talking to a friend of mine. She just switched over from nursing to dental school, and she's now been in school. She's in her 30s. She has a kid. It's tough on her own, and she's now in her 30s, and she had to switch trades because it wasn't for her, because she had a kid younger, and it's, like, just the struggle goes on to how long? Like, it's just not easy.
But you see, you have a similar goal to me. I think you're further along in your goal now, but it's like being financially free.
Yeah.
You become your own boss, and also you get money working for you. What did you start investing at a young age, or did you just go more investing in like businesses? Because I still want to get back into your story of what happened after that route.
Yeah, no, more in property. Like the property that me and my grandmother set out for, we thought South Philly was gonna go up in value, not the way it has. So it's a property we bought at $160,000, and that we sold without doing any repairs in 12 years for $300,000. So I mean, I bought her out 5 years prior, and then with that money, I was looking all over for properties, and I was talking to you at the time. I think I was looking online, maybe at about 50 properties a day, but I actually went to about 70 of them, and then just one caught my eye. I put $157,000 down on it. I put about $55,000 worth of work into it, and it's 5 units that now generates. Now it's about $4,600 a month income, but you got to remember only about half of that you take home after tax and everything. But that's how you start, and you just start looking at different investment opportunities, and like Bitcoin. I got a little bit involved in that, and I started looking at some stocks, and which I don't know much about. But and then I started looking at wholesale, like fix and flips. Like I was like these hands are made for making meatballs, not for building houses. But I started YouTubing things. I started learning off like whatever my father did. He's in his 60s now, but he never really did that. But all them old school guys always know how to work hard. So I started just YouTubing and learning. Now I'm doing plumbing myself, and like it sounds like I am financially stable, but I'm still working all the time. Like you see, I'm constantly putting the apartment up for rent. I had that house in Millville that's up for sale for $20,000, which is really cheap.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's super cheap. And
$20,000 to be a homeowner, right? That's what
exactly.
the ad said?
Yeah, that was the ad said. And it's good pictures, and it's Millville, so it's not the best area, but somebody's gonna take it for 18,
Right.
which I got somebody taking it for, and you just start learning where the best routes are that you want to go. And I would love to be more free in my time, but I'm not. So I'm not there yet, because I'm 33 and I want a family and have kids still, which is important. But I'm still working my way to get to the point where I could be the best person, where I could put myself in that situation.
I think we skipped a part of your story too. So, because after the vending, the Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
did you go and then you had a deli?
No, so my grandmother was looking in South Philly just to have like a cigarette store.
Okay.
And she said, she goes, do you have any money invested? I said, I have like 15,000 right now. She goes, can you get 20? I said, let me see what I could do. And another month I just saved whatever I could. I got 20,000. We invested in the deli.
Okay.
And I wasn't there for 2 years, and it just wasn't doing well. She named it Brown. She was selling cigarettes and linen. So I came over. I changed the name to How You Doing Deli, Home of the Bada Bing. I was a fan of The Sopranos at the time. So I figured that's a perfect name. And then everybody started coming taking pictures. And, they're like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's a cheesesteak with long hots. And, then it's a chicken cutlet with prosciutto, long hots, and broccoli wrap. So little things like that, we started instilling like homemade Italian food and hoagies and steaks. Then we started putting paper towels, so we were like the neighborhood corner store, just like that.
So did you have like a passion for food and cooking before this, or did you kind of like built it along the way?
I mean, like we're both Italian. We like a passion for food is like that's all I do is love to eat. Like I go to the gym 5 days a week just to look like this. So that's like just to maintain this fatness. So.
That's good though.
Yeah.
And so from there, like, what was it like learning that business? Did you have to go into like really learning how to market, really learning about getting advertisements out there?
Yeah. So I wasn't really like a social media guy. And, my cousin Angelina, she was like, why don't you put stuff on Facebook and why don't you get it? Because you're like so old at 22, you don't know what you're doing. So I started putting just pictures of meatballs on Facebook and just advertisements, a little bit around the area, and it just started picking off. It just got hot. Everything just took off, and now I really know how to advertise a lot better.
Okay.
Just with like you seen, I put an apartment up for rent.
Mm-hmm.
Now the apartment is gorgeous, but you put some show furniture in there, you take good angles, and 170 people replied that you know. So instead of now, I don't have to deal with renters from Craigslist you don't know, people that actually have good jobs and know you. And so far, I've gotten great tenants because of Facebook alone. I manage it myself. I do all the work myself. I manage it myself, collect myself, and so.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs people need their social media game on point these days. Without it, it's like they're nowhere.
It's great. Social media works for a lot of things. Like people say it's not a dating app, but you can definitely find, great people.
Oh, absolutely.
You can definitely find great, buildings if you're looking for that. If you're looking for jobs, if you're looking to buy, different gamings or things for kids, whatever. It's great for everything.
Now, did you have to hire people to work in this deli with you?
No, it's me and my grandmother 7 days a week, and my cousin would work on the weekends, and my aunt would work the other day on the weekends if I took off.
Because I was going to say, having to hire people would have been a whole different kind of skill to learn. Like, you're going to be going through the interview process, vetting candidates, like
you got to trust
their strong points, their weaknesses, etc. But the advantage of doing that kind of thing with you and your grandmom is, it's like you guys own it. You're putting your heart and soul in it.
That's it.
So people are going to put more effort. It's like you see that out in the world, like you look at a franchise from like McDonald's or Wendy's. Like the people in there hardly give a shit.
No,
but,
they don't.
Like you go to a mom and pop place or like a Chinese place, that's their whole freaking family working there.
Exactly.
And their livelihoods are on it. And so they're on it. They don't fuck up.
And you have to trust somebody too, like run the cash register. We're making the food, like you can't. So you could make something the same way, as you know, with most foods. Like you could use the same ingredients, and when two different people make it, it comes out different.
Absolutely.
Like food definitely comes with love, and that's how it goes. Oh, and while I was there, I started doing like meal prepping, and I was going to the gym a ton, and I was eating healthy, so I started selling like like chicken dinners and salmon dinners for like $10 a piece there too.
Well, like meal prepped?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was making them like that night, so like by
Fresh.
5. Yeah, by before 7 o'clock, if you came in, like I had chicken and salmon dinners, I'd make like 6 or 7, and they'd all go.
So at one point, did you move on from the deli? Did you sell it, or you still have it now?
Yeah, no, the deli was sold 2018. Yeah, 2018, and that's when I started. Like I was technically out of work, but I was selling like raviolis and gnocchis out of my house, like just container food, and I know that's not exactly legal, but it's not a big deal. Yeah, and then I just started looking for the investment. I was looking for the right investment and the right opportunity, and that's when I had a fix and flip with the house I'm in now. That's in South Philly. And then I started doing fix and flips, and I was looking for that one property that was perfect, and I found it. I got lucky. But I also did a lot of things to maintain it. Like I had a buddy of mine who's a great realtor in Jersey. He was going to be my realtor no matter what, but I had 8 other realtors where I told them to call this place and let's make an appointment. So they thought they had 9 different people coming to make offers, and I canceled on 8 of them and just went with my realtor. So they panicked because they was like they had to sell fast.
Clever.
Yeah, it's a little sneaky and clever, but it worked.
Yeah. That's all that matters in the end. So what have you learned from like your scouring for the perfect real estate opportunity?
It's anxiety.
Really?
Well, because it's the first big investment you're making on your own. So if you make the wrong one, like everything you worked for the last 10 years is over.
That's true.
It's just completely over. But it's also empowering too, just that you got to this point in your life. And obviously you have help along the way with, whatever investments made, whatever people or however you were raised. But financially it was all me. And it's so empowering being able to just make these decisions on your own. And it's such a great feeling. It's like every time when I go collect rent, when I have good tenants, I always bring them food. And it's just a good feeling that like you built this together. And sometimes you look at yourself like you don't feel like you had that in you.
Right.
And it's tough to do that. And you're like, and then it becomes overwhelming. But then it's a good feeling too. That you can look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, you did this.
You can surprise yourself sometimes.
You do. I think you do it all the time. I think people do it all the time and they surprise themselves.
Absolutely. And so, like moving forward with this real estate thing, it's like, have you had a lot of problems with like people's like water heaters and other silly nonsense going wrong? And do you have any like tenant horror stories?
Yeah, like tenant horror stories. I got a great one. When I first bought the property, so the backyard's small, and I knew that there was only 2 of the 5 tenants that were, like there was two occupied units, and one I see about 50 dog poops all over the lawn. And so I see the one person with a dog and I'm like, all right, now I already see it's trouble. And she goes, oh, can I see you next month for the rent? And it started as soon as I bought the place. So I actually let it go out to the thing, but there was points where she was moving people in attics without telling me.
Sneaky.
Yeah, they were flushing tampons down the toilet, and there was just issues constantly. And I finally got her out where she actually had to pay the rest of the rent, where she's on a monthly payment plan. But yeah, there's some horror stories. The fix and flips are good ones, like because you're buying properties in North Philly or West Philly, and you're getting the property for $10,000 to $15,000, and you're going and there's just needles all over the floor. It's just disgusting to clean out. So like I don't want to even touch that, so I pay guys like $120 for the day to clean it out.
Sure.
Because it's disgusting.
Well, that's the new thing right now. They're calling it the gentrification stuff around there in that area, where there's all this property is super cheap.
Yeah.
It's almost like the HUD stuff from the Sopranos episode where Carmela's cousin says, yeah, buy land, but not making more of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, but then you have properties like in Brewery Town, where it used to be ghetto, it used to be the hood, and now complete rehabs are going for $130,000 because when you fix them up, they're going for $500,000. I just took pictures of one I'll show you after the podcast. Though the house is falling apart, and that my boss is actually paying $135,000 for it. He's gonna put about 2 into it and sell it for almost $500,000.
But I mean, you make $360,000 profit. You do that every day in the week.
Exactly, but you have to, like, people always say that. They're like, oh, but look at the profit. Now you have to get the workers in there. They have to do the right job. You have to get the right zoning. Like, it's not easy.
I'm sure they make it a pain in the ass. There's all sorts of things, these zoning laws, tax laws. How have you dealt with the tax part of this thing? Has that clowned you around too?
Yeah, it does a little bit. So like the 3 fix and flips I did, I haven't made more than 20,000 on each one. So I made like 20, 12, and 15 roundabout. And now that they take like 3 months each, and that's if I'm working fast and hard. So I don't do them anymore because it's now I'm doing the real estate thing. But you have to hire people in there. You have to pay the taxes for however long you're in there. Whether it's a quarterly tax, that's what usually ends up being in Philly, which is cheap. But if you're buying a Jersey property, yeah, I mean you're getting crushed $3,000. You have to include that, and the zoning, and you also have to get people with. There's different licenses for everything. It's brutal.
I mean, New Jersey's one of the worst states in the country for that.
I know.
Property taxes because of schooling. If you go to a place like Medford, Marlton, I think they're paying like $11,000-$12,000 a year.
Yeah, and there's some parts of Medford that are more. Like there was
absolutely
somebody who just purchased. I think it was like a 6-unit property. They're paying $32,000 in taxes. Yeah, I mean they make about I think $90,000 a year on it, but it's still outrageous.
There's people migrating. That's why they're migrating down to like North Carolina, South Carolina, because it's so much cheaper. So you get so much more land, so much more house for less, and the taxes hardly even an issue.
Delaware, same thing.
Absolutely. And I'm also curious. So like moving forward, like what are your next couple goals coming up here? What's your end plan?
I think it's to do more real estate, more wholesale, less physical work. The 5-unit property I have in Williamstown, that's my baby. I'm keeping that for life. And just probably work not as hard physically, and then start to build towards getting that end goal of family and kids.
Right.
I want a couple little mini-me's running around.
So I'll be curious though too, like what part of what you're doing now is the most enjoyable to you? Because like for me, financial freedom is absolutely the goal.
Yeah.
But it's not the goal so that I can do nothing.
Exactly.
It's the goal so that I can just do more of what I really want to do. It doesn't mean I wouldn't work. I would still do this. I would still do other coaching kind of stuff. I might even do like clinical psychology stuff to get that because I think I'd be good at that. And so it's like the financial freedom of just doing whatever you want, that's fun for a little while, but
Yeah.
I'd want to have some things to like really fulfill me while I'm doing that. But like, what fulfills you like with what you're doing now? Like what part of it you like?
It's the same thing. Same thing you're doing. You're trying to make a difference.
Right.
So you can make a difference in so many ways now. Now, you want to coach somebody in their life or somebody that had an addiction before or relationship advice, you're making them, you're trying to help progress them. And if I'm able to do that, whether it's before, filling their stomach with something they ate delicious, or whether it's selling their house or getting them out of a financial situation or finding their dream house, that's a great feeling. Like I love when somebody goes, "Oh, you motivated me to do this," and I don't care who it was, male or female. If I'm able to like make you smile or give you a little bit of advice to change, even maybe the next couple hours of how your thought process is, that actually makes me feel the best. The best feeling in the world.
You be doing it on Facebook. I've seen Baccari everywhere there.
I try, but like I know sometimes it gets like a little too much. But some people are like, "Oh, you're just doing this," but it's the best feeling in the world to actually put a smile on somebody's face and motivate them. Like an older lady the other day, she was working. I just picked up cannolis from her, and I tipped her $4. And it's not a big tip, but she was like so excited about it. She put a smile on her face, and that made my day.
Little things go really far away.
Always helping other people is like my thing, and I obviously it's yours still with everything you do.
Absolutely.
So that's major.
I've been seeing people these days that there's like this new thing where people say, you shouldn't have to tip servers because if they wanted a job that paid, they should just go get an hourly position or something like that. Have you seen that kind of mentality out there? I see it on Facebook. People post something like, you shouldn't be complaining if you're a server and you ever get stiffed. And everyone's just like, yeah, you shouldn't be tipping them. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with these people?
That's obnoxious.
It is obnoxious, what I'm saying.
Even if you have a server that was, rushing around and maybe a couple of mistakes are made, you still should be tipping 15 to 20%. I mean, me and you went out together. I don't want to talk what I tip, but you know how I am, and I'm generous. But it doesn't matter because then they always take care of you. But why are you going to leave disgruntled for an extra couple dollars and think somebody shouldn't be complaining or get this job? Like they don't know how it works. Like people struggle out there working 2-3 jobs, going to school, and don't have a financial stability from them or their family. They just are working hard.
To me, that's the poverty mentality. They think that like they gotta be cheap to save all the freaking money they possibly can because ultimately their belief is unless I'm cheap, I'm not gonna make it. But like people who are smart with money that have the, what do they call it, prosperity mentality. Yeah. It's like, you know what? I give freely of my money to people who've earned it.
Yeah.
And say that. Like the difference between like a great tip or a good tip and a great tip is so little a lot of times. It's like $100 bill, at least tip 20. Like you can tip 25, 30 and make someone's day. It's like that's $5, $30. People act like they got razor blades in their pockets when it comes down to giving an extra 5 or 10. They're like, I gotta give them $10 on 100 or 15.
But you have the calculator, you owe this, you owe that. But now the $20 tip is okay. Just don't give the 10 on the $100 tip. It's completely obnoxious.
No, I mean no server will complain if they get 20 on 100.
Yeah.
Like no, that's fine. They'd love to see 25, they'll see 30 of course, but
servers deal with the most nonsense in the world. Absolutely. Like you're dealing with people like actually treating you like a slave. Mm-hmm. More water, put more ice in this. This isn't hot enough. And they don't realize like they also have to tip out. You have to tip out to your boss boys, the servers. Sometimes you have to split tips if you're a bartender. They hustle and work hard like everybody else.
I mean, they actually make more money because they're actually going out there. They don't make their hourly wage, right? It's like void paychecks, but you can actually make good money as a server, and it doesn't take too much like learning to get there. It's like you don't need to take some skill course or get a degree. It's like, you have to be a server. Skills. You got to speak, right? Yeah. You got to talk, and that is something that you can't really teach to people. It's like either you got it or you don't. But it's actually a good job for people, especially.
It can be. But then you got to remember they don't get benefits. They don't get 401k sometimes. So health insurance and stuff. So yeah, they can make good fast cash, but it's still not easy in the long run sometimes for them. But it's definitely a job. I mean, it's a harder job than I do.
And that's one of the things I've actually thought, though. They keep on talking about this minimum wage nonsense and how, like, raising it to $15 would solve a lot of things. And it's like, that's not going to solve anything because all the prices are going to do is just increase everywhere else.
I think I'm against it big time. Because I also think you're gonna have people that work 40 hours a week get cut down to 24, so this way they don't have to pay in benefits.
You know what I thought, though, is one of the solutions? Is that, like, you go to the gas person, right? And they're making an hourly wage. But, like, if everyone went through, they just gave them $1. It's like, well, guess what? Now that gas job is a pretty good job now. If you're at
That
a Wawa and everyone there is giving them $1, it's like, oh, no, guess what? Now it's like a $20 an hour or $30 an hour job. Maybe it's not even worth that. Maybe they shouldn't even get that much.
Yeah.
But like, if we, the people, were to try to like tip people we see all throughout in these like minimum jobs, I think that would be that's the solution. It's like,
But hey, you have to rely on everybody. I do agree. Like,
but that's it though. We rely on each other more so
Yeah.
than relying on like a business owner that needs to work on his bottom line. Like, because I mean,
Sure.
again, they got to do what they got to do to be a profit. But like the generosity of the people, it's like, hey, if they raise the prices on things, or we go to some socialized medicine program, it's coming out of our pockets anyway.
Definitely.
It's coming out of pocket through taxes. So it's like, well, I just give a couple bucks here and there, so as to not have to lose big on those other kinds of things, you know?
No, the gas attendant, I always tip if it's raining, if it's snow, if it's really cold weather. That I'll do. I mean, if people don't do it, because I think in Jersey too, it's expensive, and some people are just going, let me get 10 regular,
Right.
20 regular cash. So it's tough. Gas is expensive. I get it. I am for raising minimum wage though, just not to 15 an hour. But I am for like what is it, 8.60 or 8.75 in Jersey? Yeah, that's unacceptable. I feel like it should be like 10, maybe 11, 12. But
It should be.
yeah, it should be raised, but I feel like 15 is just. And you guys just passed that in Jersey, didn't you?
I think they did.
Yeah, it's like it goes through in a year or two, or does it actually go through?
I think it comes through the end of this year, I think.
So what happens with medical assistants that went to school that are making 15 an hour, or people that are making 15 an hour doing plumbing or electric?
Here's the thing about that, in my opinion. A lot of these jobs are like undervalued. So like
Yeah.
you see like an EMT, that's a pretty important job. You got lives in people's hands, and they're making $15 an hour. It's like, to me, that job is worth more than what they're getting.
So does everybody go on strike that is making now, minimum wage for somebody that's working at your local McDonald's and Burger King?
See, this is where I'm conflicted, because on one side, I think the way you do with money, I want to be in charge of my money. I don't want to have to rely on other people for my money. But at the same time, society won't be able to continue unless there's people doing those mundane, stupid jobs that nobody wants.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to have EMTs, you got to have nurses, you got to have doctors, you got to have accountants, and they're all needed. But a lot of those jobs just aren't going to be like jobs you get rich off of. And they're hardly even jobs you can get by off of. Like, well, if you have $15 an hour in New Jersey, that's not enough to live, really.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather now come out of high school and be a clerk as opposed to being the EMT and going to school for a medical assistant? Where there's people that are taking care of the elderly for 15 an hour. Like they're changing their diapers for 15 an hour, and now you could go do that just sitting around at Walmart being the greeter.
They could do that, but this is why, in my opinion, it's so important to invest, because when that's all you're making, inflation is going to chew up eventually all the extra money you're making.
Yeah.
So you got to get your money working for you somehow. Like, to me, Bitcoin right now, like you mentioned it,
Yeah.
without a doubt, it's like around 10,000 now.
Yeah.
It's
just
going to go to
honestly.
20, and it's going to go above that. It's like one of the most sure things you'll ever see. Like, everyone
Maybe.
knows it's going to happen.
I think it's going to hit 30 by the end of next year.
So that's 3 times your money.
Yeah.
How many investments in the traditional stock market can you see with such certainty to say, oh, that's going to triple times 3?
Yeah, well,
Tesla?
I can't say it's Tesla's hot right now. Yeah, but then you're also telling people, like, that's great for being you, but you're also telling people that are working so hard just to get paycheck to paycheck, invest your money. Where are they getting the money to invest?
Wow, this is where. All right, I'm glad you asked.
Good.
So the way to do it, I read the book from Tony Robbins, Master the Money Game, and he
Okay.
goes, you got to treat your investments like a tax. So he goes, if the government would take more money out of your paycheck, you'd find a way to get by, right? Because the government's taking more.
Yeah, I guess you have to. You're forced to find a way. Yeah.
Yes. And so he said that's how you got to treat your investments too. You pay your investments first, and you make it work. And preferably, he said, you automate it. So you get like a fixed percentage out of each check, maybe it's 10%, 15%.
Yeah.
And automated, boom, straight to your investments, and it happens, and you do it no matter what. You just see it as a tax, and then you just keep on going. Like, that's the way. Because if you don't treat it like that, you're not going to do it. I don't do it when I don't treat it like that.
So say you have your average male or female in their 20s, say even no kids, and they are working, they're working hard, and they have their apartment, they have their dog, they're just getting by with maybe an extra $40 a month. So now you're talking to $40 a month, invest that for how long till what can you really make out of it?
See, that'd say to me,
Because that's how a lot of people are living right now.
$40 is so little, right? And so like I would get impatient. But this is why I don't do that, because I need to have things that are going to like have like an upside, or like the harder I work, the more I'll get. And if I just had a fixed wage and I only had $40 extra each month, I'd go insane.
Me too. But
Like,
that's how a lot of people have to live their life. But I do see a lot of things that are changing with mostly with women. I see like they're doing hair on the side, or they're doing makeup, and they're selling like little bows or things for kids. Like there's so many hustles out there that you could 100% do. You just got to figure your niche, because women are more talented than us. Let's be honest. They are when it comes to like writing or making things or things of that nature. Doing hair, makeup, like they're just more skilled than us.
They have their talents for sure.
They do, and it just find your niche and just try to do something with it. I mean, it could be fun, and you end up making some money out of it. There's a ton of women like on social media selling things like that.
Well, that's what the social media era has allowed us to do here. We have side hustles. Right?
Yeah.
People have side hustles. People have gigs. People can do Uber and Lyft. Not that that's a great side hustle or anything, but they can still do it. Right? And there's other things you can do. You build a following on Instagram. You build a following on YouTube. You build a following, I don't know, wherever kind of social media platform. And you can monetize it. And it's like almost like you have to though now. It's like if you just rely on like one income.
Yeah. No, you can't just work your main job anymore.
No, it doesn't happen. And then, I mean, this has different problems, right? Yeah. This is like everyone's working 40, 60 hours a week. Yeah. Which also reminds me, I want to get into, I'm always curious about people's like daily routines. Yeah. So like walk me through a standard day in the Anthony Baccari world.
Yeah, it's different now. It's now that I'm 33, it used to be, working 7 to 7 and then going to AC till 1 in the morning and then coming back to work.
What, gambling or clubbing?
A little bit of both. But that was in my early mid-20s. But now I'm 33. I get up 7:30 in the morning. I make my breakfast, whether it's oatmeal and eggs, and then I have my meal prep from the night before, whether it's chicken or salmon or something like that, and I go. I set everything up and I get my school books, which I can't believe I'm even saying that, for my real estate license. Go to work and that's it. After I'm done work, I go right to the gym, and then right to the gym, looking for parking for about 20 minutes, shower, and if I can, straighten up something or clean up, feed my cats. I got 2 Bengals, and then it's bed. It's not that exciting.
So you're a cat dude more than a dog dude.
No, I'm a dog guy, but I didn't have time to train dogs, so I want a blue nose pit bull, but I have 2 Bengals that are great right now. Yeah, because if you have a dog, you really have to take responsibility like it's a baby. So, and I just didn't have the time.
That's
and
true.
I don't right now, so.
Cats are self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Right, they don't need shit.
You say that, but then you come home and they're just like, there's just stuff all over the place. Because they're like 2 wild animals. So it's rough. It's rough.
So you say like work all day. What does that part look like? Are you just like going over like your buildings, examining things, or looking for new properties, or just checking up on tenants? Like, what does that part look like?
So Monday through Friday, I'm in a brokerage. So I'm negotiating deals with contracts. I'm following up with people that are selling their house, people that are looking for properties. I'm also talking about some of the properties that we have available for sale. So that's pretty much my 9 to 5 gig, which it wasn't like that a couple months ago, but that's what it is now. And then the weekends, sometimes throughout the week, sometimes I'm doing inspections. Because I was in Brewery Town doing an inspection yesterday, and then in South Philly. Weekends, I'm always doing work on my property, checking up with my tenants. They have access to my phone throughout the day, so they're usually calling me about, little stuff anyway, because I'm open. But weekends, I'm always checking on that. Sundays, footballs are going now, so I don't know what to do on Sunday. But Sundays,
XFL now.
Yeah, I know. XFL's coming up, and tomorrow I'm going to play basketball for the first time in like 2 years, so I'll probably not be able to walk by Monday. That's what my schedule will be like.
There's something about that high intensity, like sprinting up and back and forth in the basketball court. Like people can go run a couple miles, and they go try to like run up and down the basketball court. They'll be winded. They'll think they'll be in good shape. Like, I run 3 miles a day.
Completely different story.
No, completely different. I'll say that sprinting stuff is 1,000 times better than that long distance, like slow burn cardio. Like that stuff has its place in the workout world, but if you really want to get in good shape, hit high intensity interval training. That's kind of what like basketball would be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hate any type of cardio anyway, but when it's basketball, it's like I love the thrill of competition. Like whether it's like going to Dave & Buster's and playing a game with a girl you're dating or your buddy, or just playing basketball just with your buddies. I mean, I anything competitive, like I'm all about it in a fun way.
Are you sure that's not toxic masculinity?
Yeah, well, that could be that too. Like, kind of like a couple times we went to the bar years ago, and we were playing a couple fun bets too that I won't get into, but they were pretty interesting.
I think men need competition, in my opinion, and I think in the world right now, it's like they're trying to make it so that everybody is a winner or something, or like the participation trophy thing. Parents are coddling their kids left and right. I think we're going to be in some trouble with the way things are going to be in about 15, 20 years. I don't know.
You can be, but you have to. I mean, you just raise your kids to what you think's best, because I think it's obnoxious. I mean, like, because I remember if we won, we got a trophy. You didn't. The other team high fived you with a smile, and you had your head down. You're trying to get better for next year, and that's how it should be.
But that's life. Like life, there's winners. Life, there's losers, and it's like if you don't work hard, you don't prepare. Like you might be one of those losers if you're not careful.
Well, I think the only mindset where it works is you're a winner if you gave your absolute best effort. Like for sporting events, you gave your absolute best effort and you lost, but you gave everything you got, and you left everything out on the field, the court, the.
Like Tom Brady against the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like Tom Brady obviously lost the Super Bowl, but he had one of the best Super Bowls you could have, and we obviously hate him in Philly because he's a winner. He's the best quarterback of all time, and you admire that at a guy his age, and he looks like he's breaking down. But then he'll just come back stronger next year in his final year.
He's got one more left.
He does. And everybody keeps saying he's going to the Raiders because he bought a house out there. No way will Brady. He's built about his legacy. He does not care about money. He has enough. He made enough. He wants. If he's going to go somewhere, it's somewhere where he can win.
I don't think he's going to leave New England. There's no reason for him to leave.
Me neither. I don't see either.
It'd be stupid for him to start all over in a new freaking place.
I agree.
It might say, like, the only argument I can see someone make for that is that he wants to prove he could win without Bill Belichick.
Exactly. And Belichick wants to prove it too.
And I think Belichick wants to prove it more than Brady does.
But Belichick will have the opportunity once Brady's gone.
Yeah, he will. He's going to stay just for that very reason, I think.
I agree. But you have to give him better weapons. You have a guy in his 40s. I mean, people are laughing like he can't throw the ball that one. Now you're 42 years old, right? Or is he 43?
He's 42. He's going to be 43.
Okay.
Like, he could still throw the ball.
Yeah.
His receivers were just being morons last year, not running the right route. They didn't know what they were doing.
Issues, but you have to, you don't have a receiver to give him. You have one guy who's, Julian Edelman's very talented, but he's talented for running small routes. You don't have a deep route guy. You don't have a running back besides James White that could catch balls, and you got to give a guy like that more talent. I mean, look at Peyton Manning had towards the end. You had two monster receivers and a great running back. You have to give, and he had no tight end this year. They should have brought back Gronk for the last game of the season.
They missed him.
Yeah, definitely.
They missed. He was a character though too. But they need another receiver, and I think they'll be fine, and he'll be good enough to go back and play. And so, going back into your own life here, 5 years down the line, what are you hoping to be?
I'm hoping to be a big name in the real estate game, where people that were buying and selling, always have something positive to say. Like, this is a guy to work with because he's not in it for the money. Obviously, I am in it for the money, but it's also important that the people I'm working with have a great experience. I'm also going to do 5%, that the going rate is 6%. I'm going to make sure I take a complete percent off with absolutely everybody, so I want to go in strong and just undercut every other realtor out there. So that's big, and
What does that mean? That's going to be your profit? Is 5% instead of 6%?
5%, and I have to kick back 30% of that to my broker. But, that I'm going to continue wholesaling. Hopefully I'll be done with fix and flips, and I think 5 years I would like to have another property rental that's multi-unit, and I would hope to have 2 kids by then. I don't have an age, but you're talking 5 years. I mean, I'm almost 34.
Us guys got it lucky though. We could wait till we're 45 if we really wanted to. Yeah, you'd be a little older.
Yeah,
the kids are growing up, but we could.
My back hurts now. I don't want to wait 5 years. I don't want to be 45 with my 5-year-old.
No, I mean that makes sense, but I mean, I don't know. Relationships can be pretty tough in this day and age.
No, it's rough. We make them rough too.
Well, of course, because I don't know about you, but I know I have the thing where I like the insanity. I like craziness in relationships. Yeah. You gotta feel it a little bit. Healthy, you don't feel too much.
And that's what sucks, but it works both ways. Because you'll have a girl that's looking for a great guy, but you throw that overly nice great guy at them, it's too much. And we're the same way.
Of course.
We could have an amazing girl right in front of us, but that connection isn't there because we need a little bit of the excitement, a little bit of the wildness, and I wish I could change that about myself. I'm sure you could too. But,
it is what it is, though. It is what it is. It's like, the really good people, it's like they're not really, a lot of them are just a little more codependent. Like they're trying to really be, they're overly eager to please, and it kind of just gets boring. You need a little bit of.
We should want somebody that's overly trying to please their significant other.
It's human nature to not want that on both sides. Right? You want a little bit of excitement. You want a little bit of ups and downs, a little bit of a roller coaster.
A little bit of a chase.
Absolutely. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, the
And
chasing
women are
never
the same. We're the same.
No,
We're
they
all
are.
the same. And you talk to women. I mean, women have it tough today too, though, because a lot of guys just don't get it.
They have it worse than us in a million reasons. I mean, a woman walks down the street, there's 1,000 guys gawking at her. She puts a picture of her and her family on social media. It's the most disrespectful comments. People messaging them, so it's hard to even stand out as a guy.
Well, let me tell you something. So these guys out here, there'll be women posting their selfies, and they'll have the parade of dudes commenting, "Oh, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful."
Yeah.
That always just makes me want to vomit, because I'm like, dudes, like, do you think this is gonna work or something? Like, you gotta have a little more tact. Like, they collect those dudes as like notch. Oh, there he is. There.
Of course, but then it becomes uncomfortable for somebody that doesn't do that, and I just want to say to like my cousin or my buddy's wife, like, "Oh my God, you look amazing," or "That dress, you look great at the wedding. You guys look amazing," and then I don't even want to say it because I almost come off weird even talking to my own.
Yeah, you almost can't.
Yeah, you almost can't do anything now talking like that to even somebody that's a friend. Like I want to be like, I'm so proud of you for doing this or finishing school or doing this, and you can't even come off like that because everybody else is looking at you.
Well, I think you just made a good distinction, actually. It's when you say you're proud of like an achievement or something,
Yeah.
that's a lot better than saying like, "Oh, you look great," or "You look amazing, beautiful," etc.
I would never say that to somebody I don't know.
Right, like a personality thing or an achievement. It's like you can do that without coming off as too much of a creeper, you know?
I do
And
that with
that's-
anybody that's weight loss. I know a couple guys that lost like 100 pounds. I've never met in my life. They added me on Facebook, I guess, over the years, and I seen somebody who lost 100 pounds in the last 2 years, and I'm like, that's amazing, man. Like, you got to pump each other up.
I mean,
Women do it. We should do it to ourselves.
we should. But I think these guys got to stop doing that stuff. I think they got to respect themselves a little bit more because they just give their approval too willy-nilly, and then it goes unappreciated. And that's exactly what's happening though too. It's like if you give it out like for it's nothing, they're gonna treat it like it's nothing.
Yeah, but why should a woman appreciate someone they don't know saying you're so hot?
Well, that's exactly right.
They shouldn't.
That's
They
exactly
have-
right. That's
yeah,
why they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's all. But you don't owe a man anything. Like if a man's messaging you or commenting in your DM or saying you don't want to go out, they have no reason to
We
respond.
just gotta take the L sometimes.
But
right?
they don't.
We all take L's sometimes.
Of
It's
course,
just,
I think
it's just
that-
about how you deal with it.
I've definitely in my time slid in girls' DM and say, if you don't mind, would you like to grab dinner sometime? And they would say, sorry, I'm not interested, or sorry, I'm dating somebody, and it could be a lie, and it's like, no problem. But you see a lot of guys, like a lot of girls will post, comments.
You see 'em.
It's like, well, you were ugly and trashy anyway. Like, how were you raised to think a girl's not interested in you that you think you could keep doing that? Or you're talking to yourself for a week.
Immaturity. Well, you see that a lot too. The
That's
old
embarrassing.
guys talking to themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just as bad. And
That's
then the
bad.
immaturity. You're fat. You're ugly anyway. You stupid bitch. Blah blah blah.
Is it immaturity, or is it also a sign of abusive relationship to come?
I think this is what I think it is. It's they're doing something with the expectation of something in return, but they're not truly being authentic. They're not truly being genuine. They want a feeling that this woman is going to give them. They want her approval. They want her love, or they want sex or something.
Yeah.
And if they don't get it, then they get disappointed and they get angry.
But yeah, I agree. I get that.
And they're completely in the wrong. I'm not defending them
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
I know
It's
you're not.
completely in the wrong.
That's like a rapey vibe. Think about if you take a girl on a
Yes.
first dinner date. There's no expectations. I don't care if it's a 12th dinner date. There's no expectations. You have every opportunity to walk away and say, I'm not getting what I want from this relationship, or I'm not getting what I need, and you have every opportunity to walk away. There's a million other people out there.
They don't think that way though.
Yeah, I know, but that's to me is abusive in a way. Like I've never spoken to a woman like that in my life.
You shouldn't. No one should.
I agree, and it's just abusive, especially somebody you don't know that you can say that to them. It's not like they posted. It's funny to me. It's not as overly aggressive and dangerous.
It's just ridiculous. Is really what it is.
Yeah.
And I think guys, a lot of these guys doing this are the more socially awkward ones. They don't get like the cues. They just don't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Like maybe they didn't have like a good father figure growing up, or like some mentor type people growing up, good uncles to teach them how like what the hell's going on, and they're just idiots. And
Yeah.
part of me, like I can understand some of it. Like a lot of guys that have like really bad anxiety or insecure,
Yeah.
they're going to be getting rejected left and right. And
but learn from it, or try a different approach, or just we've been rejected handing the drink to a girl.
of course.
Like, or would you like to dance? And I've gotten the dirty look, and it makes you walk away flustered a little bit. But it's like, so what? You build back up, you give it a shot with somebody else. It's not a big deal if you're single. I mean,
But you know what happens though? 20% of the dudes can get almost all of the women. And then you have about the other 75% 80%, like maybe they're not attractive, maybe they're overweight, they have nothing going on with money, no sense of humor, and it's just like they're just unwanted. And like there's not much they can even do a lot of times. They can try to do the best with what they got, but it still might not be enough. The only thing they could do, because anyone could, is get their money right. You get your money right, it's going to make people look at you a certain way. It's going to make people look usually better at you if you at least get your money right.
Person? But you find the right person that looks at you as a financially stable, partner? Because that I don't want that. I actually think about the guys that are rich. They're you know how hard it is for them to find actual true love, because you don't know what you're getting.
Then you got to be a good detector for the truth.
Listen, we are like, we're good poker players, but women are 10 times better.
I have learned this. Yeah. I've been burned. And they're pretty damn good. I had no idea some of these women were doing what they were doing.
Exactly.
And I got the rug pulled out underneath me pretty good. Me talking to you about that like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But
and you didn't see that coming at all.
But you know what she did? That girl in particular, I don't think any woman could ever do that to me again. Because now, like, I just see the world so differently now. It's like I kind of just see through the bullshit, I feel like. I can sense what's going on. A lot of these girls who are really hot, especially the ones who are a little more narcissistic, like loving all the hundreds of dudes liking their selfies and whatever, it's like they almost can't truly, like, really love. Like, they like status, they like whatever, and it's just like, you can just sense just something's off. And, like, you gotta know that as a dude. Like, notice the signs of a good woman, and notice the signs of a woman who just, like, loves attention and likes money.
Well, yeah,
there are symptoms of each.
Maybe, but there's also a different variety of each. Like, I could also, like, like, think about, say, if you post a picture in a new suit, and you look good. I mean, if you get more likes, it makes you feel good.
Sure.
As a guy. And say if you get a job and you make a little bit of money, you also feel a little bit more confident and things like that. So, also, do you look for a woman? Think about this. If I planted you at the same woman, one is financially stable and one isn't working. So you're obviously going to go for the one that's financially stable. So do we like a little bit of money too? Maybe, but it doesn't come to financials, but it comes to security and somebody that actually has drive. So I think there's different parts of both. So if you see somebody that makes a lot of money, I think it's more attractive what they do as opposed to their financial gain.
Well, I'll say two things. It's like money, what it can show, unless you like inherited it or whatever. It's that you can be consistent at something. Yeah. You can be relied upon. And if you're going to be in a long-term monogamous relationship, that's like one of the ultimate things you need. You need to have someone you can rely on.
Yeah.
You need to have someone that can be consistent and trusted. Because if you don't, it's like, then that's not going to be a good candidate for a long-term relationship. Especially someone that you might think about like being the mother of your children. Like consistency, reliable, like that's two freaking main things. And some honesty, of course, too. And the other part is, in terms of like just trying to like vet like what a good woman is versus not, a lot of it to me is just the energy. Like if you can really be in tune of the energy someone's giving off and just how they are, like personality wise, you can sense it. You can sense like people who have like good intentions, authentic, and the ones that are just trying to like get something or caring too much about how they look to the world or appearances. Like there is a difference, and some of it's like it's small. You can see it in the way they look sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they have a little look in their eye. But you can just sense the energies, and that's what I would go for, because when it's all said and done, like a lot of girls can be hot, and you'd really want to get with them, whatever, but they're not someone you'd want to be with in a long-term relationship because you're just not going to be on the same page.
Yeah, I agree with almost everything he said. I feel like every woman is attractive in their own way. It's just it depends who they are. Because think about how many times you've met a girl that you thought was cute. You didn't really do a double take, but then as you start to get to know them, they actually become more attractive physically because of
absolutely.
So it changes. Or we've definitely met these girls that we thought they're like, oh my god, this girl is smoking, she's hot, and then you start to get to know her, or the way she speaks, or the things she does, and she's not that attractive anymore, even physically. Mm-hmm. And like the girls I've, over the years that I've fallen in love with, they're girls that somebody would be like, oh wow, she's cute, but I see them as nobody can compare. Like when I was in that relationship.
Sure.
So I think it all depends on the person, but.
I mean, as I've gotten older, like the looks has come, like keeps on taking a notch down. Like when I was younger, that was like number one by a lot. Like, they gotta look this way.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I've stopped caring about looks more and more. It's like you still want to be attracted to them, but like I'm looking more for those characteristics I told you about. It's
Yeah.
like authentic. Are you going to be a good person you can rely on? If you can be those kind of things and just be like chill, and this is the other part about it. It's like you're going to be a good team together. It's like you're going to be, instead of seeing it like some Disney nonsense, see it like you're going to be a partnership. You're a business together, and you're the team, and you got to be teammates. You got to be business partners, and you got to be on the team, like be on the same team instead of you versus her, right?
Yeah.
Be you and her versus everyone else, right?
Yeah, that's exciting to actually find somebody like that where you can connect with on all levels, and they got your back completely when you're going through career changes or career moves, and they're there to support you. That's the best feeling in the world.
Well, it's practical. Like that to me is a practical relationship, as opposed to, well, because people, like including myself before, I get caught up in you want that like powerful feeling that you just can't, because that powerful feeling they are out there, right?
Yeah.
But it's rare.
And then at times it isn't, but you have to push through that part of the relationship. Because the early stages of every relationship, it's really great. You have these great feelings, and then then it comes back to a normal level. But then you have those moments that keep it great. And that's what's tough for I think a lot of people dating, even myself, where you go through not a boredom stage, but you go through this stage where it's just like, oh, this is how it is on an everyday basis, and it's like what happened to that thrill and that excitement the first 6 months, and
I think what you call that's just like healthy.
Yeah,
it's just that healthy part of the relationship where you trust one another.
Yeah.
You're on the same page, and it's like people are so used to like a little bit of a toxic thrill that when they get that healthy thrill, it's like, what's this? I'm not feeling anything. What's going on? And people don't know how to deal with it. I mean, I think women are just as guilty as men with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of men who they don't ever even do well enough with women to even get to these stages though, where they can kind of learn more about what's good for them, what they like, what they don't like. It's like they strike out so much they hold on tightly to the one woman they can eventually get. And there are dudes out there like that.
There is. I mean, there's a lot of people that are socially awkward, like you said,
sure.
or just sometimes overweight or unhygienic, and they don't really know how to do anything about it, and it's tough because if you don't know how to speak to somebody, how are you gonna get in a relationship? And I still think there is somebody for everybody. And
you do think that, huh?
I don't think there's like that one person for everybody, because I think you can connect with other people, but I do think there is somebody for everybody. Like you said, that guy that's say 400 pounds and he's unhygienic and doesn't know how to, he's socially awkward. I think there's somebody out there for him. I think there's I don't think there's that one person that's made for everybody, because I've made connections with quite a few girls, and I've had healthy relationships from them. It just didn't pan out to the end, whether it's my fault, their fault, or a mutual thing. But I think that you could definitely connect on a lot of levels with certain people.
I think they can find someone where they can make a relationship work.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? That can happen for a lot of people. And I think sometimes it just comes down to people got to tone down their expectations. Because they have expectations through the roof, and it's like, hey, everyone is human. No one's going to be perfect. And so it's maybe become a little more practical in your expectations and what to expect.
You can be, but then see how you just said it? You're like, yeah, you could find someone to make the relationship work. How exciting did that not sound? I mean, who wants to find a relationship? Yeah, we're both pretty good people. Let's make this work. That sounds like a dead man. So I think keep the expectations high. Maybe don't go and think of every day you're in La La Love Land in a Disney movie. But have those moments where it's just amazing, where it's your best friend. Find your best friend.
What the Buddhists say. The Buddha said the person that's the one for you is not the one that makes you weak at the knees. It's the one that you just don't feel anything at all. It's just calm and peace. It could be like that, but that's that boring, silly thing to you.
So I let mine go a long time ago. Pretty much. That's actually probably the right move.
Well, of course, it is probably the right move, but people don't. And I get it. They don't like it because it's not that fun. They want that up and down, whatever it's going to be. Yeah. But the person you just kind of get along with, it would probably be your best partner. You're probably the best teammates together with that, right?
Yeah, like you said, your best friend.
You'd be parent with that woman. Imagine if you're trying to parent with the woman that gives you the roller coasters and it's just freaking toxic. It's it's going to be freaking hard.
And how many people have kids like that?
It's all over the place.
All over. And now the kid, I'm not saying you're screwing up the kid because he could be two good parents, but it's not easy. Because now you're fighting in front of the kid all the time. You're living in separate houses. The kid's got to split time. It's not.
So I don't even know what the right thing to do with there, because sometimes it's it's better to stay, but if you're going to be fighting all the time, maybe it's better to go.
Yeah.
Who even the hell knows with that nonsense?
No, I don't have any kids and I have no idea.
So a few more of this quick little grab bag questions here before we wrap this shit up here. So if you had to go back and give your 18-year-old self any suggestions or advice, what would you tell him?
Stop having Napoleon syndrome.
No, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm short. I'm 5'7". I loved getting in fights, and you know, I don't know if it was a competitive thing. I always liked to, you know, sticking up for people and getting in fights with people that were bigger, and that was just ridiculous. Oh, and when I was, I guess you said 18. I was gonna say I'd say 21-year-old self. Stop giving women the wrong signals.
Oh.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm 33 now, and you still make mistakes in life, and I still have plenty that I've still made. But I think when you're you know, when you hurt somebody emotionally, a woman, I mean, that's a terrible thing to do, because then you feel it later. Like, you're 21, you should know, but you don't know, and you're dating a bunch of different women at the same time, and if you're lying to one, it causes damage, and you know, that's not fair.
How'd you get over that, the Napoleon thing and that?
Well, I mean, you grow up and you feel like it costs you money, or you get in trouble getting in fist fights, or sometimes when you get hit, it doesn't feel that good. Things like that, you just tell yourself, it's just, you know, you grow up, you mature. I mean, you know, I got in fights, and I went to a couple different high schools because I got in fights, and you know, I went to 4 different high schools, so just from getting in fights, and it's just something you don't do. I mean, you channel your energy at the gym, you channel it, you know, in the work. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in the I don't know if I can say this on here, but passionate sex, you turn it into different things. And not that you walk around angry anymore, you just mature. Like, you know, what would you do when you were 18? That you were.
I was a moron when I was 18. I was off the rocker.
There you go. I mean, you just find different ways as you mature.
I would say I'm probably a completely different person.
Yeah.
Now than I was at 18. People wouldn't even like recognize me as the same person anymore. There's been a huge for many reasons, but there's been a drastic change. So here's another good one for you. What's something that you wouldn't want to have had repeated, but it was good for you to have happened to you?
Something that I wouldn't want repeated, but it was good for me?
Yep.
That's really tough. I don't even know how to answer that. I can't think of anything. You're gonna have to throw me another one. I actually have nothing off the top of my head.
I'll tell you what mine would be. The
so
Brazilian chick I told you about. Like, that's something that I wouldn't want that shit repeated. But the way it's changed my thought process and the way I changed my ideals towards relationships, it's much more healthy now, I feel like.
Okay.
But like, she was the last one to kind of like just like slash down a lot of my idealizations and whatever. And it's like, it taught me to not be ignoring red flags. Like, you know, don't ignore those red flags. Like, be advised. Like, keep your eyes open.
Isn't it funny from the outside looking in? Because I remember when you told me every bit about the situation, and every time you explained it to me, I'm like, Jared, you're sounding pretty stupid right now. Like, look at this from the outside in. It's terrible.
I know. It was terrible.
But you don't see it when you're inside of the relationship.
Well, I was caught. I had an unhealthy attachment, and it was blocking all of my thought processes. And it was like I didn't abort the mission before the unhealthy attachment happened. Yeah. Like, I should have. And it didn't happen like overnight, that thing. That was like just slowly, like, lies began to be revealed. And it's like, if I would have known from the very beginning what I eventually found out at the very end, it's like, of course, I'd be a moron to have even seen her a second time. But like, it didn't happen that way. It was like slowly. But my fault was when the silliness started coming out, I didn't get to the bottom of it right then. It's like, wait a minute, hold up.
Yeah, well, I feel like when you're into something so soon, when there's silliness, like you say, or red flags right away, it's okay to just back out or slow it down.
It is.
And I mean, if it's not like you guys are in a couple-year relationship where you could go, you know, hey, what's really going on here, and do a little bit more research. But if it's something right in the beginning, red flags or false advertising or crazy things going on that was going on with you, just take a step back, say, look, you have my number, you want to see me, we could, you know, take this slower. And that's okay. I think that's perfectly okay when it's too soon.
Absolutely. I mean, in retrospect, it's absolutely what I should have did.
But we don't do that when we're in it, because we feel and think something different when you're in the midst of it.
Absolutely. So, all right, last one here before we let you rock and roll. What do you want to have people say about you at your funeral or after you're gone? It's like, what would you hope people say, like that Anthony was?
Well, I'm really big on, like as you said, just having a good name. A good name is everything for me. So, like, if people talk about me, you know, they'd say, like, yeah, that guy was always a great guy. He always, you know, helped me out in this situation, or always, you know, tried to pay, or always took care of me, or even, like, say a couple girls I dated that it didn't work out and I did something wrong, I would still even have them say like, he made his mistakes, but he's actually a good guy. He just wasn't ready for a relationship, or just he always tried to do right. I think that's what I would like to go with. Just my name is everything to me. I even make that for my tenants. I mean, I actually hand selected a tenant. There was like 30 people that were great for running, but when this person walked in the home that I did with my own hands, she goes, "This is amazing. This feels like home." I was like, right away, that's her. That's the tenant. I mean, she financially stable enough to make it too, but like when somebody actually makes you feel good about something you designed, it's a good feeling.
She's the person that's actually going to probably take best care of the place too.
Yeah.
You can just sense it, like just by the way she was talking.
Exactly. So I think having a good name as a business owner, as a family member, hopefully as a father, I think that's what I would love to go away with. Not with
Absolutely.
money, maybe taking care of my kids financially too, but like when people actually say that was a great guy and or having good memories, that's a good feeling.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we'll wrap it up from here. Definitely thanks for coming on the show, dude.
Always.
I think it was a
Love
pretty
you,
good
brother.
talk. And anyone who's watching this that Anthony knows, check out my channel, subscribe if you want. Also, give some comments below on what you thought about the talk. You like it, not like it, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But just let us know what you think. So with that, over and out.
All right.